Of being locked in a tense standoff, multiple rounds of diplomatic and military level talks later, India and China have begun the disengagement process at the LAC. The process has been going on for the last 4 days. In the latest, China's PLA has dismantled its jetty along with its helipad at Finger 5 on the northern bank of the Pangong Tso. The Chinese military is also vacating Finger 4 area, which it had occupied last year, and changed the status quo with India. Now, the PLA troops are also dismantling shelters and removing other fortifications which they had built last year. Complete disengagement at the Pangong Lake has been agreed on between India and China. It is expected to be completed by the end of this week. As a part of the agreement, the Chinese forces will move east of Finger 8 off the northern bank of the lake, while India will base its troops at the permanent base Than Singh Thapa post near Finger 8. And for more on this, let's just go across to WION's principal diplomatic correspondent, Siddhant Sibal. Thank you so much for joining us, Siddhant. What can you tell us about the process of disengagement? What's the latest on this?
Well, by the end of this week, we do expect the disengagement, the phase 1 of the disengagement at the Pangong Lake, both at the north bank and the south bank, to be completed. This was the story which was first broken on WION yesterday evening, and now, of course, the official pictures have been released by the Indian Army. You can see the pictures, the convoys moving, the men moving, and of course, the key focus is to make sure that from Finger 4 to Finger 8, there is all clear, in a sense that there is dismantlement of all structures if they have been made by either of the side. This was part of the pact that was announced by India's defense minister last week inside the Indian parliament, and now the work is happening on the ground. In fact, very less work is left now on the ground, and once the disengagement is completed by the end of this week, both in the south and the north bank, that is by Friday or Saturday, then we can expect the talks, the 10th round of military talks, to take place between the Indian and the Chinese commanders on the ground. That will take place next week, and that will focus on disengagement at 3 spots: Gogra, Hot Springs, and the Depsang Plains.
Yes, Siddhant, I was actually going to come to that. You mentioned phase 1. Also, I was going to ask you, what more does this entail? What will the round of talks, the 10th round of talks, entail?
Well, they will focus on the disengagement at the 3 spots which I talked about, Depsang Plain, Gogra and Hot Springs. But by and large, one of the key areas was the Pangong Lake. Especially, India's focus was that the Chinese must move to an area which is east of Finger 8. We know that this has been agreed on. The Indian side will be on a permanent base at Finger 3, and the area between Finger 4 to Finger 8, there will be no patrolling by either of the sides, till the point that there is a pact through diplomatic and military talks that the patrolling can be started. But one thing is for sure, that this is a moment, a period of lessons learnt, lessons which of course will be put in action in the future as well. But also the Chinese action has led to the sentiment against China here in India, very anti-sentiment. We know that last year was the 70th year of establishment of diplomatic relationship between the two countries. One of the key outcomes of the informal summit that took place in Mamlapuram in 2019 was the celebration of this year, but that obviously did not happen because of the relationship suffering because of the aggressive action by the Chinese forces. We know that this year India is the chair of the BRICS grouping, and India is expected to host the BRICS summit as well. Whether it will happen physically is still to be decided, but if it happens physically, then do expect the Chinese President Xi Jinping to visit India. That, of course, will be another key important development when it comes to India-China relationship.
All right, Siddhant, thank you so much for joining us with all those details.